What it do, Sacramento? We back. Fuck the we live. We back. It's Memorial Day. We out here chilling. You know, I got my red, my white, my blue on, man. We out here showing some love for Memorial Day. What's good? I'm rocking with the best crew today. I got my guy right over there on the ones and twos, Tony. Got my other guy right here to the right.
That's a little bit of a pause. Right
It
there,
was.
Man.
I was about to go into the IGs and tags and handles and all that, but just gonna keep it simple. My main guy right here, Rob. We obviously you're rocking with me, Winton. We in the building right now, so I want to thank you guys for tuning in to About the Night, episode 25.
25.
25.
Yeah.
We got a quarter up in this bitch.
2-5 like Bonds.
We got a quarter up in this bitch. Okay. God damn. God damn. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and keep tuning in each and every week. Man, we was out this weekend, huh?
Was you outside?
We was outside. Outside.
I was really outside.
Yeah, he was really outside, man. Go ahead and let's keep it simple real quick, cause man, I got some shit to say. Man, where was you at this weekend?
I was at Crawdads
That's
on
what's
the
up.
river.
On the river?
Mm-hmm.
Smacking?
Oh yeah,
Smacktacular?
I would definitely say I just don't see why anybody would go anywhere else. Like it was popping.
Yeah,
it was popping. Like and it was all good people. It was all good. It was a good time, good people.
Good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes. Everything was good. Nothing bad, no fights, no nothing.
That's what's up. Looking forward to seeing all that. Yeah, nigga. Yeah. You took it outside, nigga. Where was you at?
Outside the country.
Outside.
Yeah, man. No, it was Mexico City. Went out there for a wedding. My girl's cousin got married. Liberty. Congratulations, Yuri. Congrats on tying the knot. Great celebration. Beautiful city. First time in Mexico City for myself. Mm-hmm. Definitely had a good time. Got a little bit of a tan. Got a little darker. Us light skins, bro. We tan up like fruit, nigga. one ray, bro. We cooked. Stood. But yeah, man. No, it was a great time and relaxing time out there. I'll be back out there literally in less than 9 days.
Oh damn, you going back?
Yeah, man. Going to Cancun, man. Tap my feet in the water.
Mr. International over here. You see this nigga over here?
I do got a question. Because you actually went to Mexico during the time it was like a little bit right after COVID. How different is it now that you've been out there? Like,
people's outside. I mean, they definitely are more, I guess you would say, strict on the mask than we are here, and especially in California. Our mask mandates, got lifted, things like that. But out there, yeah, they still maintain the mask, especially on the airports, restaurants and stuff like that. It's kind of similar to kind of was maybe about a year ago here, so they still they're probably still staying updated with the COVID results of people, the numbers,
keeping it strict. Yeah, because the numbers is going back up. It makes sense. Yeah. Now I saw you had this crazy dish. It looked like some powdery substance with some pepper. Some little what the hell was that?
That was a soup, man.
That was a soup?
Yeah, like so it had that was the first time I ever saw soup done like that. So basically it had the solid food already on the plate or the bowl, and then they put the broth on that and they let that go on and marinate. Damn, marinate in your soul.
Wait, this nigga said the broth on that. Marinate your soul.
Yeah, it was definitely a great time, and an experience out there. And the city is great. Man, that's what's crazy. They got Uber out there. Like they didn't have that when we went to Cancun.
I thought they did.
No, we had to get taxis everywhere.
Right.
No, but they have it out there deep. Yeah. So I had a great time, man. What about you, man? How did outside treat you?
It wasn't too bad. No, I'm lying. It was bad. At least I think it was Friday. I hit the little county fair up. I'm like, oh, it's like old times. Because I ain't been in a minute. So it was small, but it was perfect.
You was disappointed. Come on, man. Look at your face.
But my son was happy, and so that's all that mattered.
Bro, you can make a theme park in the backyard. They're gonna be cool.
That is true.
You put them in a bucket down the slide. They'll be like, man, roller coaster. They don't care when they're young. They don't care.
Yeah. They had a few rides that were down. One of them was that drop zone one. I'm glad too, because after that crazy incident that happened that I seen online.
Yeah, man, you should never trust any theme park ride that gets rolled in on a flatbed truck. I'll tell you that right now. That motherfucker need to be bolted down.
Bolted down.
Like y'all ain't never moving this thing.
You talking about the one where the people jumped on to hold it down?
Which one?
Okay, that was a different video. There was
It was a drop zone one, and some dude kind of slipped out of the bottom of the seat right as it was coming down and slowing down. He kind of slipped out.
Oh yeah.
But when I saw it was the entire ride goes like this sideways, and some people ran because they saw it was tipping over like this, so the people had to jump on top of it to like keep it weighted down. Like it was crazy.
Yeah,
until they
I
stopped
seen
it.
another one. I forget what country it was, man. I forgot, man. I can't remember what country. But it wasn't in America, but it was a ride like they spinning around and stuff. You know, usually got like a 3-seater on each leg of the ride, and there's probably like 6 legs. So it's just spinning like this, and that thing just came off and snapped. And I was just like, damn. I was like, can't trust them rides that be coming in on them 18-wheelers, man. Bolt that motherfucker
Bolt
down.
it down, make it happen.
But yeah, man, we're gonna touch on, you know, we're gonna talk about a lot tonight. You know, speaking of loss, you know, Ray Liotta
Yeah,
is no longer with us, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mr. Henry Hill
yeah.
from Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. That
You know
was
what
a
I mean?
damn good movie.
Uh,
They had hitters in it too.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of them.
oh, that Goodfellas classic.
Yeah.
Come on, it's classic.
Yeah.
But for Ray, you know, 67.
Yeah.
That's young,
Yeah.
You know, it's-
especially by today's standard.
Yeah. It's like, you know, they're in the limelight. We're able to see them and, you know, love their movies, love their films. Can't wait to see what other new things that they come out with and how that old major film for them plays out in a new role that may be different. But always a good actor, man. I can't say anything bad about that. But
Did you have a movie that
Goodfellas was the best one.
best one for you?
Yeah, best one for me.
It's definitely the most memorable.
Yeah.
For him, man.
Mhm.
But you know, he was in, you know, Field of Dreams.
Yeah, he was
You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
mhm. Kevin Costner.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like he was, you know, he's been in a couple other movies that maybe aren't as known, you know, more mainstream.
To normal
Yeah,
people.
I remember one that was
Mhm.
called Only the Brave. I think it was. It had Jodie Foster in it.
Hmm.
That one was really good too. But he had a lot of, he was in a lot of films that you know, weren't as, you know, box office successes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but Goodfellas is obviously the most,
A good
most
one.
notable.
Extra roles, extra people that made that one really, really good. What about you, Tony? You got any favorite movies or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I think Goodfellas. I've always known him from Goodfellas, so you know,
yeah.
it seems like they have there's like 8 of them. I feel like there's 8 of them for some weird reason where they all like play like those mobsters. You know what I mean? And we know who they are. You know what I mean? We see them all the time.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like-
There's notable. You know, got Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and,
Right.
you know, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci. You know, these
Joe
guys,
Pesci, yeah.
Like these
Right,
guys are
right.
always.
Al reminds me of Joe Pesci. That's funny.
Man, it's like it's Joe Pesci always plays for the most part Joe Pesci in every movie. Even if a lot of people forget he was in Home Alone.
Yeah,
he was one of the
yeah.
gangsters.
One of the smarter one.
Or that he was on Moonwalker with Michael Jackson. He was a bad guy with the
That's
spiders.
right.
You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? So,
Like so.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Rest in peace, man. To Ray, and you know, condolences to the family.
Absolutely,
Everything.
man. People are going a little bit before their time,
mhm.
and it's a lot of things, you know, mainly health related, and it's sad, man. We got to keep an eye on that. I mean, with that being said, definitely take some moments to go get yourself checked out. Not only just physically, but there's a crazy perception about mental health as well. You know, a lot of people are in denial about it, but sometimes you got to get it checked out.
Well, he
Myself
passed.
included.
He actually passed where kind of everybody would like to go in his sleep.
Yeah, yeah,
He was asleep.
mhm.
So that's how you want to go, man.
Yeah. The best way.
To be honest with you,
Very
if you're the
true.
person,
Right,
you
right.
know, don't have to feel, don't have to suffer, and
But I feel like I'd want some final thoughts as I'm dying. You know what I mean? Like I feel when you sleep and you in a dream state and you just all of a sudden you think you're waking up to be alive, but you're waking up in purgatory, wherever the hell you're going. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want to be like, and then be thinking of shit. You know what I mean? Like my last moments, my last people I love. And then or maybe I want to come back for a ghost for like 2 days or
This
something.
guy right
You know what I
here.
mean? Like you whatever you want. You know, you want to fucking just imagine that shit and then it just happens.
let's keep it 100, man. You just want to haunt people,
Right.
You just want to haunt people, and mess with people, open people's cabinets, and knock stuff off the counter.
That
That's what you want to do.
That Disney movie Soul. I think that's what you're talking about. Right? Soul.
yeah, I want to do some shit before
Yeah.
I die. You know what I mean? At least.
Matter of fact, you brought something back from Mexico. My bad to go back. You brought something back. What'd you bring back, man? What'd you bring back? You brought back some of that smooth white.
Had to bring that smooth shit, man. Go on and get a little taste of that.
Ooh, shit. Right here. Oof. God damn. It's all right. Paid to you in part by
No sponsors.
none.
No sponsors.
Now, what they call that one?
You got to pay us.
Man.
What they call it?
With Pure White.
Why's it gotta be?
Smooth white.
And it's more expensive than the original dark. Man, that's racist. I don't give a shit. That's racist.
Where you
Pure
taking
white.
that? Where you taking that, Tony? Where you taking that?
Pure white.
Oh yeah, man. Let me go ahead and take a quick look at these polls, man, as we get into the next topic right here. We put a poll out there today. Obviously who you got in the finals.
What's the numbers, man? What's the numbers come out to? Who we got? We got Warriors, Celtics.
I ain't gonna lie, I did try to cheat and vote. I did vote. I voted.
Did you put it over the edge?
Nah, man, ended up still losing like a motherfucker. They got it at 57-43 Warriors.
That's close.
It was close. It was close. I think it's more so like either you're a Warriors fan, which is great, or you're just hating the Warriors because you're a diehard Kings fan. You know what I mean? You don't want nobody to win. It's easy for a Kings fan to hate everybody. You don't even have to be the Lakers anymore. We just hate everybody because
Y'all trash. That's why. Trash hates everything. Trash hates cleanliness. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And y'all ain't holy.
man, we far from that, man. That's
Yeah.
just crazy. I don't know what it is, man.
Y'all is cheeks.
We just need a run. My thing is how are we so bad and we don't get? Well, we get good opportunities to get people good. We just, I guess, don't
I keep
take
telling
them.
y'all, man, there's a recipe for y'all to get better.
What's
Stop
that?
trying to win.
Man.
Y'all need to get a good draft pick, get in better position to get you a solid superstar player. You're not gonna do that by drafting it, number 6 and number 7 and above. It's just not gonna happen for y'all.
Luka came after us, and he was cool. Dame Dollar came after our draft pick, and he was cool. So you never really know who you're gonna get in the draft, man. It's just all how you
But
develop.
look at the guys y'all passed on though.
True, we passed on a lot of good players, but who
Yeah.
knows that they would have developed the right way with us.
Anyway, before we get off topic, Tony, who you got?
Oh, yeah.
Finals. Warriors.
Warriors.
Got the
Curry's
Warriors.
just, yeah.
You got the.
I got the Celtics.
Oh, you got the Celtics.
I got the
You
Celtics.
taking the upset?
Yeah, of course. Who you got? This is what I
got-
really want to know.
I'm taking the Warriors.
What?
I'm taking the Warriors. I'm taking the Warriors in 7.
Whoa.
Well, I got a little bit bias in me because it's hard for a Laker fan.
It ain't that hard.
It is hard.
It ain't that hard because y'all
we
technically got-
we losing either way.
Nah.
The Celtics is our rival. We don't want them to win.
They beating y'all.
The Warriors is in our division. It's a California thing. I don't really hate the Warriors like that, but at the same time, it's kind of like I'm indifferent.
Y'all
about
already
them.
lost, bro. Y'all got 16 and a half ships.
But if you're asking me, I'm gonna go with the experience. That's what I'm thinking is taking it over the edge. I'm taking the experience.
I'll give you that.
I will say this, and I think we touched on it last week. I think we talked a little bit about it because we was talking about Jason Tatum as far as being a superstar.
That's why I want him to get his
and,
little
what,
chance.
and I said for him to be solidified as a superstar, I think getting him here, he's really set himself up. If he's able to get the Celtics the W with the championship, that's definitely puts him there.
next level.
Especially against this team, because the Warriors is stacked talent wise. But I said this before. I'm glad that it is the Celtics because I know it's going to be a good series. And no disrespect to the Heat, I just don't think that they had the personnel to match up well with Golden State. So I felt like the Celtics.
do?
I felt the Celtics have a better personnel. They have a better roster to match up. You got Jaylen Brown. You got Marcus Smart. You got Jason Tatum, you got Al Horford. You got a lot of interchangeable pieces that can guard multiple positions, and that's what you need to do when the Warriors is doing a lot of switching, a lot of moving. And I feel like the Heat don't have that. They don't have that personnel for that.
They should have.
But
They got shooters and runners.
I'm taking the Warriors, and I'm doing it purely on experience. The Warriors have been there. Steph has been there. Clay has been there. Like these guys are tried and true. I'm going them 7. Light skins on top.
Man, I thought you would have, said the Celtics.
Hey, a light skin gonna win Finals MVP regardless. Make that note in there. It's gonna be Jason Tatum or Steph Curry.
What about Brown? You don't
But-
think Brown gonna step up?
Not over Jason Tatum, I don't think. He would have to have a killer series. Well, he could.
Yeah.
Gotta give love to my light skinned
So-
brothers out there, man.
So you hate the rivalry is the Celtics. Why is there a rivalry?
That's Lakers and Celtics is a big time rivalry, bro. Bert, that goes all the way back. You know, What do you mean?
How many championships you guys have?
Lakers got 17,
16 and a half.
16 and a half.
16 and a half.
Oh, this nigga hating. Which year you hating on? I need to be clear.
The most recent one?
The what?
Yeah.
How was that? How?
Because, nigga, it was a bubble season.
Who cares?
Nigga, the Kings were in the playoffs that year. Didn't the Kings make it? Did the Kings make it?
No. They didn't make the playoffs. They made the play-in. Words mean something.
And that don't mean nothing?
No, it
We
mean
just talked
shit.
about how they're the worst team in the league, and they
It
made it in.
It don't mean shit.
They made it in, though, right?
They made the play-in. They
Look at
didn't.
that,
They didn't
16.
play. They didn't play a series.
16 and a half.
No,
Nigga.
No, this nigga hating. I don't believe no Kings fan talking basketball. Fuck. That's like trying to debate with a baby.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. It's always fun to talk about that. I know that's, going to be the end of that. Now, as we dive into a little bit more of some serious conversation, last week, I mentioned that weekend, nothing really happened, and it's just so crazy that you wake up the next morning for Monday, and we wake up to another crazy mass shooting. This one was in Texas, having to deal with multiple kids losing their lives for reasons that are still unclear to me why. So I do want to take a moment and definitely say my condolences goes out to the families that are deeply in sorrow because they took their kids to school and could not pick them back up. My condolences and prayers go out to you. I could not imagine the feeling that you were going through.
Let's do before we get kind of dive into some of the topics we have is the moment of silence for the souls of those kids and teachers that were lost and thoughts of those families.
Man, that was a crazy day. And to think we just recently experienced it ourselves here in Sacramento.
Right.
And then it continues to happen.
Double. Oh, man. As much as, we going on our thoughts about it, it happening on that Tuesday, it's, we get desensitized quickly. There's so many, and I'm not just talking mass shootings, I'm just talking, killings
Violence.
in general.
Yeah.
It just gets desensitized, especially when it's, when you break down the statistics and you start going into the groups that were affected, whether it be black people, whether it be Hispanic, whether it be minorities, whether it be kids, whether it be, these different groups. And at the end of the day, it's all death.
Right.
And you get desensitized to this because we're so used to having information at our fingertips, and we can never really grieve from the previous thing because something else happens because we're too quick and privy to information that happens readily. And that's, Denzel said it in our interview, man. That is the long-term effects of too much information. Is we get desensitized to these things that occur, and we're in it for the moment. Even right now, we're going to talk about it, but a couple weeks later, like I told you about the downtown thing, everybody gonna move on. People gonna forget. They're gonna move on, and we got to move on. I mean, you don't stay stuck, but it's. Are you really sorry? Do you really care? Like that's such a hard thing to gauge.
Right.
But I'm as a parent, I could not imagine what those families and parents are going through
Right.
as far as with their kids, and it's such a a sad thing, especially when it's with the little ones, because you know that's pure innocence right there.
Right.
Like that's we're conditioned when it's dealing with kids, you know, or old people,
Right.
super like the elderly. You have there's a certain sensitivity with that,
Absolutely.
and you know that that's pure
Absolutely.
innocence right there in when they are taken away before they should be.
Right.
You know, and as they say, you know, no parent should have to bury their child.
Mm.
And it's it is a heartbreaking event that occurred, and that's kind of my take on it. I just hope that those families find peace. There's so many stories developing
Right.
from this. Like if you can go down the line, like the I think it was Irma Garcia, the husband had a heart attack.
Mm.
Left behind 4 kids.
Mm.
It's like, you know, there's so many. It's dominoes, man. It's dominoes of devastation. You know? And you know, so Tony, man, what are your thoughts on it?
I got a lot of thoughts.
Just in regards to what's going on. Not we're gonna get into a lot of the political things like that. We focusing more on the. Them.
I'm just, you know, I have 2 children of my own, and it's when something like this happens, it's obvious that we all put ourselves in that position of the parents. Immediately, we have empathy, and I just, you know, from the stories that developed, everything else, you know, and we can sit here and say that we would have done certain things and we would have acted differently, but
Very
really
true.
we really weren't there. But and I just know me personally, you know, something like that was happening. I don't care if, you know, I'm being held up by police. Whatever, I'm jumping the fence. I don't
feel
care,
you.
bro. I don't give a fuck if I take a bullet. Whatever. That's my daughter.
I would have
I
done
don't
the same
care.
thing.
You know
And
what I mean?
I think I did hear a few stories of a few people actually doing that. A few parents ran back in as the shootings were going on just to go try to grab their kid. I'd have took a bullet. I'd have ran straight to my kid.
Right, 100%. And it's just heartbreaking. I mean, you know what I mean? There's not, you know, and when later, which we'll talk about later, when it gets politicized and things like that, it's just, that's when it starts really getting disgusting, where it's like, listen, we need to talk about what's happening with these parents, you know, what's really happening in the entire situation, how it could have been prevented, how we maybe could have saved some of the lives, you know what I mean? Because like you guys just said earlier, stories are getting changed. Like it's almost to a point where, I mean, I'm almost saying like there should be people being fired, because these stories are changing so much that it sounds like somebody's lying. You know what I mean?
What is the story? What is the story? What was the original story that came out?
Well, I remember when I first saw it came up on my feed on my phone.
Right.
It was and the amount had changed, and I don't think that could be construed as a lie once you start going to the amounts, because they're adding up. They don't know how many
At the
is
time,
affected. You
right.
know, because I think when it first hit, I think it was 9.
Right.
They were like 9. I think that was the number, and then it just kept going up from that point. And that's usually the pattern that happens all the time, because there's, you know, counting the shells, they're counting the bodies, they're counting the victims.
Right.
You know, so when I first got the feed, and I'm like, damn, okay, we got another shooting. Okay, this is at a school, this elementary school, and I'm like, what?
Rob Elementary, by the way.
Right, and I'm like,
No pun intended.
I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, and then when I look at the age group, my son is literally only 2 years older than this age group. You know, and you as you touched on it, Tony, just putting your own self in the shoes of those parents.
Right.
When you were just supposed to pick your kids up,
Right.
and you're not going to be able to. That's such a. I think anybody can empathize and sympathize with that, you know, whether you're a parent or not. But I think it just strikes home with a parent, because now I think we get to the point where we don't think it's going to happen to us.
Right. That part.
I think you get to that point, and
Yeah.
and that's when we're going to start, you know, unpacking a lot of this stuff and going in depth about that. But, you know, to me, it's a lot of arrogance too. Like you don't know. Like everybody says, you know, that we shouldn't overreact, or we shouldn't do that. What the fuck you talking about? What the fuck you talking about? Overreact.
Right.
That's an emotional event. If that was your kid, well, how would you be reacting?
I'd be wanting to hurt somebody.
So this whole idea, you can't overreact, and
Right.
that like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. That shit pisses me off when people say that shit. When it's situations like this, you don't want to overreact. Like, you're going to. Now, there's a level of overreaction. Like, you don't want to go to the point where it's at the detriment of others.
Right, I'm with you.
You know, but you're going to overreact. That's the whole definition.
Definitely.
Reacting is normal. Overreacting is something abnormal happens, and this is absolutely above abnormal. So, it's hard.
So going back to like when we talked about, you know, lies that could have been said, people being fired. I'm talking more in the sense of the hierarchy of the police department. They were saying that it was a hostage negotiation, that there was a barricade situation, and then they're coming back and saying that it wasn't. So things like that have changed, and it sounds like they just want to keep themselves covered so that way they don't get in trouble. Well, it's sounding like people are going to get in trouble for what happened because it didn't sound like it was a barricade situation. It sounds like they could have saved more children that were bleeding out probably.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff come out. I don't know which politician is. You know, got to fact check me. You know, the people that do that. Somebody that they had posted that there was an armed security guard there,
right,
and he was shot, and then there was something else that came out that wasn't true.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah,
and so, but that's what I'm saying. But as you said,
Yeah.
there was a whole bunch of these stories coming out about things going on, trying to. I guess when you throw information out there like that, it creates doubt in the public's perception of what's going on. So now they don't know what really happened once you start throwing out all these scenarios and all these different things, because it's going to take you a certain way as far as how you think this whole thing went down.
Right.
And that's a big, and that's just one example. Like because obviously once we start talking about the guns, you know, that would have been a big issue, because it's like, oh, well, we had an armed. They basically trying to make it seem like, oh, well, we had an armed security guard. Look what happened. Like but that wasn't even the case.
Right.
But you threw that out there as if that was some type of fact, and it wasn't.
They said he had been called after shots he had actually shot at the school before he gained entry to the school. They had called him. I guess at the same time he's running. This is what it just sounds like to me, based on the police commissioner's main report. That then, as he was going to the back to get into the building, I guess that guy drove by, didn't see anything was going on, and drove off. First off, I'm sorry, if I'm an officer, you tell me there's some kind of shooting, I'm gonna stay there and be like, hey, y'all said this was going on. What's going on? Like, you're gonna take a report. You know what I mean? Somewhat.
Absolutely.
But it's just that didn't happen. So
no, it's you know, I do want to, you know, touch on that part. You know, we since we're already discussing it, you know, we're going to talk about, you know, going into responsibility. You know, and we always got to come down to that. Who's responsible? What's responsible? You know, when you start talking about with the police, like from the stories that I've read, the parents were pleading for them to go in.
Right, they were trying to get
pleading.
Yeah.
Like
right.
begging them, and they didn't.
Some just ran in. I've heard multiple stories of even.
It was a border patrol.
I was gonna say, I even heard I heard an officer went running in to go grab their kids out and actually attended the school as well. But then I did hear that the police officers almost kind of like what you said as well about the downtown shooting. And I hate to bring up an old reference, but you said they could have done more. Am I right or am I wrong?
At least they showed up.
They showed up.
I'll be honest with you, they was there.
But were they able to control the situation?
Well, the event had already, in that type of situation, they responded as quickly as probably you can. I think that's definitely different. I understand where you're going with it, but I think that is a different scenario. This is something else. You are getting reports that there's a live active shooter in a school.
Right.
You are paid to go in there and do that
immediately.
Not stand around and get a perimeter.
Right.
Get your ass in there. If that ain't for you, put your badge up, put your gun up, and go get another job.
Right.
And I'm not saying and I don't want nobody coming at me saying, "Oh, well, if you think it's that easy once you put a badge on, I ain't signed up to be a cop." If I sign up to be a pilot, I'm expected to land that motherfucker.
Right.
100% of the time.
Right.
So you took the job as serious as being a police officer is. Your ass need to act, and you need to get in there. Period. There is no ifs, ands, buts about it.
God damn.
Your ass should have been in there. I don't give a damn about none of that shit. If I was a parent there, my ass would have been in there.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's easy for me to say. That's 2020 is hindsight. When the event is happening, you try to put yourself in that position to see what you would do, and it's easier when everything is already happening. You can kind of decipher what your actions were going to be. But I know for a fact, as a parent of a child that's in that school, I would have been running in there.
I'm gone.
Like you can't, like, especially when you're hearing the shots go on.
Yeah, you ain't gonna
like
tell
you
me.
just not gonna be standing out there like that's insane.
Right.
Like that doesn't even. that doesn't even compute with me. And you having a badge and having a gun, and you being paid. Like, that's how I look at it. We taxpayers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm paying for your ass to stand out here next to me. Get your ass the fuck up in there and start doing something.
Do something.
Period.
Damn.
Period.
I'm just thinking.
I know
about
I'm
that.
going on a little bit of a rant about this, but
Nah,
there's no excuse for that.
it's
There's
a
no
legit
excuse
rant.
for that. And I know there's going to be a lot of people shooting out information. Oh, they was getting wrong information. Who gives a shit? The bullets is going off.
Right. They even asked certain questions like, "Are you okay?" Yes, and then gunshot went off, and one of the kids had died. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not even gonna say as a cop, as a human. Like, you would run up in there immediately. I don't. Me as a father, you know what I mean. Like, I live my life, you know, for my daughter and my son. Like, I'd be in there in
Absolutely.
a heartbeat. So it's crazy. It's really crazy. And again, we act like we're saying we do all these great things, and I'm just going back and forth about it. But it's like, because maybe we would have been there and been like, oh shit, maybe I'll fuck it up. You know, maybe I'll fuck it up because they have a hostage negotiator now. They're talking, and if I run in there, I'm gonna fuck it up and get her killed. You know what I mean? We don't know if we would have thought that at that same time. So it's crazy to think, yeah, we would. We want to say that because in our hearts, as the men that we are, we would do that. But being in that situation, you know what I mean? Because
I'm sorry. Once the
Right.
bullets go off, there is no more hostage negotiation. If let's speak to it. Anybody listening that knows a hostage negotiator, that is a hostage negotiator that's dealing with that, I believe once you shoot a hostage, there is no more rules of
Negotiation.
engagement. There is no more talking. That's what usually hostage negotiators usually go through. When they start talking with a hostage negotiator, they say, "Hey, as long as anybody hurt, if nobody's hurt, we can keep on talking."
It's funny you're
As
saying
soon as you start killing, there's a full breach. Period. SWAT up in there. Everybody up in there. There is no more talking.
I hear you there.
So my girlfriend's she's actually training to be a hostage negotiator. So, and she says the exact same thing. That's what you have to do. 100%.
That's the rule of a hostage
Exactly.
negotiator. The hostage negotiator is there to negotiate with the person that has basically claimed held lives against their will. They're threatening them. That's when a threat is involved, and they're threatening to kill. And so usually in those situations, they're there for some type of purpose. They want something, money, resource, whatever the case may
I don't
be.
think that was the case, though.
But what I'm saying is, when people try to say, I was speaking more to people who are saying that if it was a hostage negotiation and they had any type of hesitation on, going in there, like, even if that's the case, any hostage negotiator is going to tell you as soon as the bullets start going off, there is no more talking.
There is no
the
more.
hostage negotiator leaves the scene, or at least takes a step back.
Right.
Now whoever's the commander of the SWAT team is now in control, and they take over. That's how that shit goes.
And I can understand maybe the police were telling people to stand back because you're actually putting other people in harm's way.
For an hour, though? For an hour?
I don't, like I mentioned, I mean, if there's an active shooting in and you want everybody running inside and then actually being
The ones with the guns, yeah. The ones that's their job to do it,
Well,
fuck,
yeah.
you goddamn right.
Yeah.
Get your ass the fuck up in there.
God damn it. Well, you mentioned it right there. I feel you on that.
I'm sorry, man. I
trying to
know
put
I'm
myself-
animated about it, but like that's just bullshit. Anybody that's coming at me or has any opposing side, you have a right to your opinion, but I got a right to destroy your opinion. Period. Get your ass the fuck up in there.
The chat just said what you're saying ain't shit. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Hey man, pull up.
Shit. But nah, man, I mean, you are right. You are right. And I mean, I'm trying to put myself in everybody's shoes, both sides.
yeah, we tried
So,
to. We really do. And it's
know,
like, man, nope, you should have been
No,
up in
you
there.
it starts going, we have to define those lines. And at the end of the day, it's all cool to have conjecture and debate and stuff like that, and we talk about opposing sides and and ideas and scenarios, but bro, like you got to draw that. Like this is simple.
what do you have up here right now?
Right here is the this is what they had a police commissioner there. Who's the guy? They kept saying governor on some things. I don't know who this guy is because some newscasts were saying he was governor, some were saying he had commissioner. I don't know who he is.
I don't think that's the governor.
Exactly, I don't think so either. But like 2 newscasts were saying the governor said this, and then I was like, that's not the governor. Do you want me to play it?
Yeah, let me hear what he has to say.
Basically,
Well, first we gotta.
Ultimately, the reason why is because I'm pretty sure it has to do something with the gun, and I'm hoping it's just telling the story. But ultimately, I know things are going to start coming out about gun control.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously the first thing that people start talking about.
They politicize it. Yep.
You know, I definitely want to look into that a little bit closely, but I want to see what he is going to talk about before I ask the big question.
Yeah, we're gonna get
It's
to
a big
it.
question.
Let's
Yeah.
hear what let's
19 officers gathered in the hallway or somewhere. What efforts were made to try and break through that door? You say it was locked.
Just like we said.
What efforts were the officers made to try and break through either that door or another door? Get inside that closet.
None at that time.
None at that time is the only answer you can ask when someone was asking you.
That sucks.
Believe that it had transitioned from an active shooter to a barricaded subject.
You have people who are alive, children who are calling 911 saying, please send the police. They are alive. In that closet,
Wow.
there are lives that are at risk.
Mm.
That's not-
We're well aware of that.
Right. Why
They had 911.
was the decision made not to go in and rescue these children?
Again, the on-scene commander considered a barricaded subject and that there was time and there were no more children at risk. Obviously, based upon the information we have, there were children in that classroom that were at risk, and it was in fact still an active shooter situation
Does he-
and not a barricaded subject. There was 19 officers.
Did you see his last name?
There were plenty of officers
McGraw.
doing whatever needed to be done.
Ain't that the dog that says no drugs at school?
This guy.
That's McGruff.
Oh,
Get the fuck up out of here.
Was requested on the scene as soon as they were there. They executed a search, or at least a dynamic entry. They went in, and of course, that was not till 12:57.
Damn, he didn't even finish the end of it. God damn
Well,
it.
I think and there's so I'll I get what he's saying. He's literally taking and you can pause it, Tony. But everyone's gonna jump on him because he's the one in front of the microphone.
Right.
He obviously wasn't there when it happened. He's just the one that's responsible to give an
Report it.
explanation
Right.
on what occurred. And I'm listening to what he's saying, and it sounds like what he's saying is accurate to what transpired.
Right.
So it's to the point where and that reporter had a great question, like why didn't you push it? And he was very firm in his question on what type of efforts did you show to push through the barricade
Right.
when there's an active shooter? And he answered the question. He didn't dodge it. He said, based on the information that we had of the commander that was on site,
Right.
basically there was no, he barricaded himself in there and there was no one in there.
Right.
So if you have that information, I can understand
Them wanting to-
from that perspective. However,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where we get into the accuracies or inaccuracies of this situation. As you just stated, you had kids calling
Yeah. 911.
from their phones,
saying that
come
it's
up in here.
active. Yeah.
Like, what else do you need?
How
And
long
you
is
hearing the bullets. What he shooting up the chalkboard?
Right.
Like, what the fuck is he shooting?
Right. Right. Damn. You know.
He obviously not shooting himself. The bullets wouldn't keep going off.
Mm-hmm.
So some of this it has to come down to its negligence, stupidity, or flat out fear.
Yeah.
And
That part.
and we gotta start defining those lines. Was it a fearful act? Like, I don't want to go in there and get shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to blanket that on all law enforcement. That's obviously not the case. There's a lot of brave law enforcement. Majority, I would actually say.
for taking up the job in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Yeah.
that's not an easy job. That's
It
not an
ain't.
easy gig to do. And a lot of them, depending on where you at, you ain't paid as much. You're
Right.
not paid as what you should be getting paid.
Depending on where you work, yeah.
So we're not going to sit up here and do that, but we do have to dissect and go into responsibility of this type of situation. And would you have saved every child by
No.
doing a full breach?
No.
But you damn sure would have reduced that number
few.
of 19
A
kids
few.
getting killed, or possibly one of the teachers
Absolutely.
that was murdered.
Coulda,
you know.
coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? Who knows? That's hours a long ass time.
That's a long time to
ass
be shooting.
Even 30 minutes is a long ass time. Jeez. Well, with that being said, obviously with this mass shooting and mass deaths, it brings up the conversation talking about gun control, and the Second Amendment debates follow closely behind. So I definitely want to ask the question, who or what is responsible? Who or what? That's even a tough one to ask. Nah, hell no. Who or what is responsible for these types of incidents? That's a damn good question. I know already what I want to say. Tony, no,
I'm gonna
Tony,
Tony. I want to let Tony speak on it.
Nah, goddamn, we're gonna be here for a minute. Let's go ahead.
No, I mean,
but we need to hear it though.
I mean, it depends on what aspect of it. I mean, when it comes to me, I don't. And when I say things like, I don't like how they politicize it, and they're obviously going to do that, and they've been doing that with every single tragedy. And there's been so many polls and everything done and said, but when it comes down to it, and I've talked to people about this over and over again, I look at this situation, and again, I repeat myself. I have a son, I have a daughter, I have kids, but I'm gonna say something that people are gonna get mad about. They were just kids. According to our representatives and senators that we have in office who get all the protection they have and all the protection they need, they were just kids, right? I mean, we have institutions. They have airline marshals on side of planes for situations that happen. You know what I mean? It's like, if the kids are so important, right? They're so important to our senators, to our officials. Why wasn't there better protection there for our children? You know what I mean?
Thank you.
We live.
For a minute there, you had me worried that you were saying they were just kids. Like, you didn't care that they were just kids.
I feel like our representatives don't care as much. They just don't, because when you're looking at the grand scheme of it, right? That here are the goggles that are looking here.
He's looking at it from a macro level, and he's saying it from the perspective.
You scared me for like T-minus 2 seconds. Okay, look, all right, man. You got to watch how I let you talk. All right, you help me explain. Thank you.
And it's just I zone into it and I see this, and it's obvious that this situation shouldn't have happened and that it was preventable. There's things that could be done. There's some laws that could be in place that could have fixed this. But when you politicize it to take away the full-on agenda, which is to basically infringe on the Second Amendment and take away our rights, because that's the ultimate goal. That's why they continuously do this. They continuously attack it. That's where I'm just like, really? The kid? I mean, we just have an administration, and I don't give a fuck about presidents, whatever, but we just had an administration give $40 billion over to another country for their people.
To be
why
able to
we're paying that, I don't know.
Themselves.
But y'all can't take at least $1 billion of that and maybe, let's say, have like some kind of structure to where our teachers ain't paid enough. Hey, you want to get paid a little bit more? Have a CCW. We'll give you $15,000 more for, because when people say, we should have armed guards at our schools,
but
they think that you're going to have AR-15s with teachers marching. No, like, have a couple of the teachers there with CCW, that are there.
You're cool with having your teacher with the gun in the class with your kid. You're cool with that.
I mean, here, we live in a society. This is what's crazy.
Where you're trusting the teacher to walk around with a CCW.
Let's talk about trust.
And I feel so.
Let's talk about trust.
And that's a different.
You allow your child to go to an institution to be with a stranger for 12 years to stick stuff in their head, but you ain't cool with them being there with them with a CCW to protect them? I mean, you gonna let them stick whatever inside their heads?
I mean, let's ask this question: have all teachers have the right track? Have you ever heard of any teachers molesting any of the students? Have you ever heard of any situations that you think would not be feasible for teachers to do, but actually happen?
I mean, we talking solutions, and if now you're asking the question: are teachers in majority, have the capacity to, wield a firearm in case of a situation? And we're talking solutions and stuff like that, but we're gonna get to all that.
I'm saying
we're gonna get to the solution. We're gonna get to that. No, but we're gonna get to the solutions. But I hear what you're saying. Going on the the politicizing the situation and going into it. I want to let you finish your point.
So, I mean, pretty much so when we talk about, having a solution for the teachers that have a CCW, pay them extra money to do that. Instead of our tax dollars going somewhere else, why don't you pay for it for that? There's just so many questions I have, because when we look at deaths, right, in America, when we look at deaths when it comes to kids, and when we look at deaths in general, wait,
are you saying desk like a desk?
No, death.
Oh, death. Okay, got you.
So when we're looking at deaths, right?
Okay, desk.
So, I mean, I'm simple when it comes to that. I'm like, look, what's killing? You know what I mean? How many kids are being killed? This is senseless. What happened is completely senseless. And there's some other things that are, that kind of make sense. Well, people are going to die from that, et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to this situation, I just feel like I don't know what point. There's too many points to make on different subjects. What did you want to say, real quick, Rob?
No, but I do want to go into, as Winton just stated, when these mass shootings happen, the gun control, Second Amendment, that conversation is always close behind, and it's always ends up being a topic of conversation. I'm gonna get the statistics out the way before I go on, because I'm about to rant. Mass shootings contribute to 1%, less than 1% of all gun deaths. Period. Now, is that to say that makes the lives, especially of these kids or anyone that's involved or a victim to a mass shooting, make it insignificant? Absolutely not. It's death. Not only that, it's magnified because it's something that could have been contained or prevented. So that's why we do have to focus on it. But it does make it very convenient for both sides of the aisle to use it as a lightning rod to defend or create a narrative or some type of conversation surrounding legislation that at the end of the day only is going to get one person or the other elected. Right. It ain't got nothing to do with anything else. But I'm really about to go in now, and I'm about to go in tough on this whole situation. I'm about to go on both sides of the aisle here, both on the liberal side and the conservative side. I'm going to start with the liberals right now. I've said this so often, when it comes down to conservatives and liberals. Conservatives have just made it a way where they just make you bend over. But Democrats, man, they just convince you that it's consensual. You getting fucked. Period. And the way that they operate is they use situations like this to politicize, that they try to feed and take advantage of the emotions of those families, of those parents, of America in general, that anyone would be empathetic and sympathetic with kids senselessly dying.
Preach. Keep going.
And they want to do that so they can get elected and get bills passed so that they can further their agenda, whatever that may be. We can debate on what that may be, what that is, and all of that, but I'm not here to do that. But at the end of the day, it's for their benefit.
Whose benefit?
The politicians.
Senators?
The politicians' benefit.
Because
it's their benefit.
Isn't it the senator's job to make these things
But it's
happen?
all of them. Anyone that's dealing with legislation, the senators, House of Representatives, anyone that's dealing with politics, it's to their benefit.
They're lobbied by a higher power.
Right. So that's that side of it. And that's the part that I feel like is so disgusting, especially when you're dealing with the politics and dealing with the left, who are, trying to push so many laws and things like that infringe on the Second Amendment or laws that are in place. That I understand that aspect, and I think it's disgusting how they use these events to try to push that agenda. Because if you want to talk about it, like I said, it's 1%. If you actually gave a shit about gun death, then what's up with another 99?
Right.
You ain't talking shit about that. You're not bringing up anything. You're not trying to pass bills. And I'm not speaking for everybody. If there's exceptions to everything. Obviously, there are senators. There are people in Congress. There are people that are on the ground level that are actually doing work in politics, that actually do care and trying to make progression in that. So I'm not speaking to you. I'm not speaking to you in the general in that context. But for the majority, that's how they operate. Now I'm really about to go.
Come on, man. You already hit the liberals, Democrats. What you got?
You
what else?
Conservatives. And I'm going to really speak on this.
Oh,
and we about to
God.
get real deep with this right now.
We went political on the show. And
If I hear
Democrat and Republic. Shit, goddamn. Keep going.
If I hear another conservative or Republican talk about it's my right and my Second Amendment, I'm going to be sick. You need to shut the fuck up.
Goddamn.
There are so many conservatives out there that talk about I'm willing to die for the Second Amendment.
Goddamn.
Number one, if the government, let's break down the Second Amendment right now. It's basically to have your right to bear arms just in case of a tyrannical government. Period. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Correct.
Got it.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They've already beat you. You think your government's going to come after you physically? They've already done it financially, which leads to mental stress and keeping you broke with taxes. They've already fucked you. But I don't see nobody uprising about taxes. I don't see nobody talking about I'm about to die unless these taxes go down to 10%. I don't see nobody talking about saying I'm willing to die if these gas prices don't get back to where it's some realm of normalcy. So to all you conservatives that talk about, oh, I'm the red, white, and blue, and we talk about Memorial Day, I'm going to stick it with the Second Amendment. Shut the fuck up, because you ain't about shit. You claim that as it's like some type of badge that was some bill that was created in 1776, which had its essence of it, which it was created was just for people for protection. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's just keep it a buck. And this is someone who owns a gun. Let's just keep it 100.
You mean protection for themselves or protection against the government? Because it's actually protection for the government.
Protection from, but I'm thinking from protection of themselves. But I want to go further on this. You know, and this is
I'm in red, white, and blue though.
And
so I'm a conservative.
I don't know,
man. Come on,
bro.
He just said the red, white, and blue.
No, but that's how most conservatives operate. That's usually their speech, and that, you know, I'm for America. I'm for freedom. I'm for all the amendments. I'm for all the Bill of Rights. I'm for what our forefathers fought for, and all this type of stuff. Let's keep it 100, man. You say so strong to that. You speak so highly of these Second Amendments and all these amendments and how they're all sacred. Bills need to get adjusted. Period. If we went just based on what was built in 1776, we'd still be enslaved right now. They had to make adjustments. They had to change shit. Back at the time when the Second Amendment was penned, there wasn't no gun that could let off a 100-round drum. There's different shit now. You got to keep up with technology. There is an issue with that.
Question: do you think privilege or right?
What are you talking about?
When it comes to the Second Amendment, do you believe it's a privilege or a right?
Well, right now it is a right. It's something that you have the right to bear arms. Okay. That's the way the amendment is built. And we can speak to what states infringe on that more than others, because obviously there's different gun laws in different states. But from a macro level, what the Second Amendment is built for is for that, which I'm not against. But what I am against is the people that just stand on it, because a lot of the people that just say they want to speak for the Second Amendment, they just want to do it just because of that. Just because they want to fight for their gang, which is the conservative gang. Just like the Democrats want to fight for their gang, which is the leftist gang. It ain't nothing but a game. They don't give a shit about these kids. I just want to protect I just want to have the ability to say, I want to keep my gun. With no context behind it, with no rhyme or reason. I'm sorry, the government, they going to beat you. You ain't got a tank.
Regardless.
They gonna get you. So this whole thing about, I got to protect myself getting tyrannical, get the fuck out of here. They're already doing it. They're already killing you with your taxes. They're already taking it out your pocket. But you ain't doing shit. You ain't willing to die for that. But you willing to die for just to have just to say that I want to have the right to have my gun. Get the fuck out of here. There's so much hypocrisy with that. Yeah. And they push that agenda so much. When it comes to politics, all these politicians, Abbott, Cruz, and I'm speaking to them, we're dealing with Texas, they in the pockets with all these gun laws. They in the pockets. They're benefiting from getting this. This is the reason why they keep pushing it, is because they keep getting reelected.
So I want to go back to the same question. Who is responsible?
Well,
who or what? Because you gave a lot of answers.
I just want to go back to the conservative talk on that. And I agree. Actually, I was hoping I didn't agree, but I agree with that because of the fact that, yes, like a lot of people don't understand that the Revolutionary War was fought over the Boston Tea Party, over a 10% tax on fucking tea.
I get you.
But yet we taxed at 40% on federal income tax. Y'all ain't fighting? Like literally, your founding fathers and everybody else would be like, you guys ain't shit. Like we fought for a lot less, and you guys ain't doing nothing right now. And that actually is the problem I have with conservatives, that they're not fighting right now. Y'all should have been fought. But in terms of the Second Amendment, though, what I will say is that do not infringe on the right. It's more, to me, and what I see, it's more symbolic to the fact that a government can't, and it's more in the sense of, like, for instance, when we got into that strike right back in AT&T days, like, I think they do fear that, you know what I mean, when it comes to high-powered rifles and things like that. Because I'll be honest, even that discussion, which we might get into, if for somebody to say AR-15 is a very dangerous, high-powered rifle, you just don't go shooting. You actually don't understand shooting, because as fast as I can shoot an AR-15, I can shoot a hand pistol the same speed. Like I just have to put an extended mag and it's the same gun. So it's like, really, when you talk about that, I just don't think you go shooting. Like, but when it comes to Second Amendment, like overall, like it's more symbology, you know what I mean? To the fact that, like, if we did go on strike or if we did protest, really what it is about protesting as a people, as a collective, they wouldn't be able to stop that as a collective.
But I speak to that on it. So you said it's symbolic. Are we? So we're going to start getting into this. In 1994, there was an assault rifle ban. if that ban had still been going on, Northwestern University did a study on this. 30 mass shootings would have been eliminated. What do you say to that?
You talked about 1% though.
But at the end of the day, 30% is a big curve. 30 is a big curve. That's a lot of people not in that 1%, because at the end of the day, it is 1%.
Right. But about 200
but you were able to reduce that amount. What that speaks to, and I'm not just saying, okay, let's go back to the law that was back in 1994 that ended in 2004, because it went on for about 10 years. I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is that conservatives, especially, you need to get off of this whole idea that if you give an inch, they're gonna take a mile on you. You need to get the fuck off that.
You don't think that they would go after handguns and shotguns?
You need to get the fuck off of it, because everything has to get updated. I'll give you a perfect example dealing with landline phones. Landline phones of that type of technology, plain old telephone service, anyone that's in telecommunications, is 100% guaranteed service. They're trying to pass laws now to make it where internet is that. Why is that? Because technology's changing. Back in 1776, there wasn't no fucking 100-round drum. Technology has changed to where the gun is. So you have to adjust. You have to adjust. And I'm not saying that,
because it's what I gotta say.
I'm not saying that you need to enact like we need to the conversation in which what that law needs to be. I think important. That's going to take a lot more research and a lot more smarter people than myself, and a lot more people that are privy to information on both sides. That's on gun education. That's on politics. That's on how laws are built. All these different type of things. But you need to move off of this whole idea that if we move a little bit off this Second Amendment, which, as you just stated, is symbolic. So we're holding on for symbolism. That's what we hold on.
There's already 300 federal laws though in place to basically ban.
I'm sorry. You got to be able to move. You got to be able to move the needle. You have to be willing to change a little bit.
We have changed.
But to what end though?
There's
300 federal laws already in place.
And I try to go back to the same question of who is responsible. And every time, I don't know if you guys are beating around the bush, but it's the senators, the ones that are making the changes in the law. That's what I was trying to get out of you guys, and I don't know if you guys were catching on. I was joking around, don't get me wrong. This is a serious conversation, but you said it. Change. Technology. Change. You want to know the changes? What happened with World War I and II? People were willing. They had a cause. They had a reason why they were trying to willingly pay for guns, ammunition, for us to fight and win this war. That was the time for people to actually be willingly to do it. And now they're willingly to pay for these guns and these wars that we're fighting to bring our people back home, right? To win this war. We're not in war anymore, so we need to change, and they changed. That is what I'm saying. Laws change. Who is responsible is the main point I'm trying to get at.
I'm trying to tell you right now. Listen, when you make a law, there needs to be a reason for the law. Like, think about it. You can't keep these. There's already 300 federal laws banning specifics on guns, rounds, drums, all kinds of stuff. That's not going to change nothing.
I get that.
You have to talk about the behaviors of what happened in this situation specifically. Who did it? Why they did it? The root cause of it.
Well, basically, the assault ban in 1994 would have prevented that. The studies have already shown that.
Yeah, here we go.
And it would have prevented the one in Buffalo. As I stated, I'm not saying that we need to go back to that. But the point that I'm making is that, and this is the part where I want people to start opening up to, and this is on both sides of the aisle. You need to get out of this ideology that we cannot change or we cannot evolve. Both sides need to start thinking that way, because what we get into is that we're just gonna have these two firm gangs off to the left and the right, and we're gonna say we're just gonna hold on it just because of that, not even because it actually is effective. That's what I see. Most people that talk about when you see it on social media, people talking, I'm gonna hold on to the Second Amendment right, I'm gonna die before they take my gun away. But you ain't talking about dying after they've taken fucking 40% of your money.
But going back
to change, part of the change.
That's not going to change.
People were willing to give money away for our soldiers. Now we need to talk
about this study
in order to keep up with what we were doing. Keep going.
I need to talk about the study.
Keep going.
I really need to talk about the studies. I don't know where you're getting the study from. I'm telling you right now.
Northwestern University. You can look it up.
Northwestern University. I'll definitely look it up on my own time. My thing is this: the law has to pertain. It has to has to pertain to the situation and the root cause of what happened, why it happened. Like, if you're going to create more laws to continuously chip away and chip away and chip away at the Second Amendment, yes, you will have a time where they will come for the handguns and the shotguns eventually. They will one day do that because of the fact that you keep going towards that. My solution was something I think just should happen, is that a different type of gun, like basically Japan, other countries, this has been shown through studies already. Japan has some of the greatest gun laws, I think, me personally, because of how long it takes to even get a gun. I think you should have 3 references. Just like you need references for a job. I think you should have references.
But to your point, I think that goes to the adjustment. Most people that keep talking about and nailing it home about the Second Amendment, they're not even opening up to that.
Yeah, I think they should do that.
They're not even open up to the idea that, and I've been saying this, and this is me as a gun owner. The question should be longer than you getting your motherfucking driver's license.
Right, 100%. It should be.
Get the fuck out of here. You opening up a bank account, you get a gun? Get the fuck out of here. No.
And I don't think
you should be able to, when you, especially something that has the ability to cause that much destruction. We're not in the day and age where someone's taking a musket and I got to pound the powder and all that shit all in the fucking gun, and then I let one shell off.
Right. But in
we ain't in them days anymore. You can let off a 100-round drum in a couple seconds.
But here's my thing. In that case, you're
Like,
saying,
it's different
you're
now.
saying that a government would never be tyrannical then.
They already are. They're raping you right now.
I know, but I'm saying
They've done it. They've done it mentally.
Right.
That's the point I'm trying to make with that. That's the connection I'm trying to make. They've already done it. You think they're about to come at it, or not you, but people that think like the Second Amendment is the end all be all. You think they about to come in here with force. They're not. They've already got your minds already, because they attacked you financially, which when you don't have finances or means to create a living for yourself, what happens? Strife, mental illness, you go into poverty, all that shit. It's all eroding at the same time. They're already doing it. So that's what I'm talking about. Get the fuck out of here about this whole idea that they're about to be coming to your front door, busting your shit down, and thinking they're about to take you over. I'm sorry, they already have done it.
We're in a house.
They've already done
that's
it.
Pretty much on fire, is what you're saying. We're in a house that's on fire already. They're gonna burn you out. But all I'm saying is, when we go out that door, we have something. You know what I mean? Eventually, when it comes down to that, because I do believe the government can become tyrannical. They're already doing it. If you don't think they ever will, it's like, my biggest thing is like, and there will be a day that I hope, and I don't want to incite anything.
They've just convinced you that it's civilized.
Right.
They already have.
And I'm saying that's the one thing I want to hold on to. It's like, no, if I come out, I'm going to come out fighting. You're not going to take that away from me. So yeah, I'm going to keep my 30 round, and I'm not going to let you do it less than that, because you can modify that shit, all that. You know what I mean? If the biggest thing is a criminal's going to do a crime, murder is already illegal. They're going to do it. You know what I mean? Regardless. In this situation, yes, it could have been prevented, because like I said before, if you would have had a law in place that basically he had to have 3 references, one of them being law enforcement, you know, et cetera, and these references will be called out if a mass shooting were to occur, and they will be fined. You have like little, you know, kind of laws put in place like that, like policies that actually punish the references as well. I personally feel like I'd be okay with that. Even someone that believes in, you know, the rights that we've, you know, been given, and now kind of feeling this more of a privilege, because somebody like this monster that went and did what he did shouldn't have been a right for him. But once you have those references, I think references think twice, like, ooh, hold on, he looks like he shops at Hot Topic and watches anime and doesn't wear deodorant. I'm gonna second guess him. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they would have said some shit like that and kept him from getting that gun. So in that sense, yes. But when you talk about them coming immediately after Second Amendment, I understand that the full agenda, other countries, World Economic Forum, Collateral Commission, all these organizations out there, that the highest of the elite, they hate America. They hate the fact that we own guns and have guns. And in a country where you have 400 million guns and counting, basically more guns than people, there's not going to be a law in place that's going to fix anything, or you're not going to take all the guns off the streets. Because I would agree with you. If you can go take away the guns, cool, I'll agree with you, but you're not going to. Criminals are now just going to have them. You know what I mean? Talk about...
No, and that's to the point, and that's where the I guess when we start talking and having these conversations, and that's when we start getting to the real issue, and that's why I want to stay on the 1% issue right now. If we're talking about gun violence in general, it's laughable when I look at how leftists go about it, and Democrats try to rationalize the whole idea of, you know, with gun violence, because you are not doing shit. And that's the part where I find so disgusting, as I stated earlier, is that they only find events like this, which pulls on the heartstrings. But they don't. Bro, look at Chicago. Look at Oakland. Look at L.A.
Home
The
invasion
places is on fire. when it comes down to gun violence, but
Right.
you ain't nowhere to be found, politicians, in regards to trying to deal with those issues. Because to solve, at the end of the day, to solve those issues, you'd have to basically go reverse of the agenda you're already enacting. Those people are in poverty, and they ain't got nothing. That's what's gonna happen when you take away money, you take away resources, you take away education, you take away hope. That's what happens. Motherfuckers die. Because what they're going to do, they're going to steal and rob and do whatever from the people that's next to them, that's in close proximity. That's why we laugh when they talk about black on black crime. That's the most idiotic thing ever. People murder who's next to them.
Yeah.
Like that's that whole idea. So when we start talking about that issue, that's a different conversation. But when we're focused here on this 1% and we're trying to reduce these mass shootings, we're trying to reduce those type of things. There are checks and balances, I think, that the conservative side especially, because they seem to be the stonewall on this whole thing. And I just think it's just dumb. I think they look idiotic. They sound idiotic when they talk about it because you're not putting that same effort in issues that are already killing you.
Right.
They're already killing you, but you just holding on to the Second Amendment like it's the end all be all. And I just call you out on your bullshit.
Another question I have, just to put it in perspective, like, what if this nigga, instead of, killing kids, what if the nigga just went, right? Kids were on a field trip. He done kicked the bus driver out, stole these kids, human trafficked these kids over to Romania and never to be seen again. Because now it's like, it's really just what makes the headlines, isn't it? Because we have over 900,000 kids a year human trafficked, never seen again.
100%.
But yet only 500 for mass shootings, and that's people. That's not even kids. It's like, wait, let's really look at the numbers here. Like, we should be worried more about human trafficking than we should about, because that's, if you're talking about where we're going to put our money. And again, giving $40 billion to another country, yet we don't have free healthcare. We could have used that $40 billion for free healthcare here. We could have, what I mean?
It all comes.
And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. That's why I was scared of. You know what I mean?
But
it's like,
it all comes down to the finances. A lot of these politicians that are in support of or in states or areas that basically benefit them supporting gun law or supporting the gun law, the Second Amendment, and preserving it as it is. That there's money in their pockets, as I stated, with Ted Cruz and Abbott. But those motherfuckers, to me, are pieces of shit.
But that made headlines?
Their money's in their pocket because of that. So I from when you start, analyzing those politicians, their motives, what they vote on, how they vote on it, those type of, and their reasoning for it.
Right.
Bro, you can there's websites that show you what contributions who makes to who. And you can follow the money, man. Follow the money, man.
Would that have made headlines though? If he would have stole a human trafficked them kids?
No.
That's what's crazy. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like,
because number one is because the gun control and that whole idea is such a hot button topic. It's not about and unfortunately
it's not about the kids.
And anyone's that's listening, if you're a parent and you know someone that's been a victim to this event or any other event, we're not saying this, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't give a shit. They don't care about the kids.
They don't care about the kids.
They don't care about the kids. So we're taking the mass shooting out of it. We're just talking about preserving young life. They don't care about that because, as you just stated, and giving an example in regards to sex trafficking, if you gave a damn, you would be fighting tooth and nail to prevent that. But there's even money in that. We ain't gonna get into all that.
Oh,
but
yeah, please don't.
But did you have anything to say on this one?
Nah, man, y'all went down a motherfucking rabbit hole on that subject, God.
And it's a hard,
it's
a hard conversation to have, but I think it's necessary.
It is.
It's
I'm gonna give you
necessary.
that.
And I say that because I hate how politicians and people who put so much effort into professing their strength of the party or the gang, as I call it, because they ain't nothing but some gangs, bro.
Yeah,
The Democrats and Republicans operate, bro, way better than the Crips and Bloods ever would.
So,
It's the gangs of all gangs.
I'm gonna ask this quick question, basically, like real quick. Hopefully, we can keep it brief. What needs to happen for it to stop? And for one, could it stop? Can it stop? I only say that because we're talking about one mass shooting situation just recently down the street here in Sacramento. We had a gun found in a desk.
In a desk, yeah.
Of a second grader.
What do you think should happen to the parents?
And that was a point I was trying to get at. What really needs to happen?
I say, fine.
What does it come down to? What does it really need? What do we need for this to stop? Me personally, it does come down to the parents, because a gun in a second grader's class, how the fuck would that get there without you having proper locks, or not letting someone know specifically where your guns are at, not having easy access? For someone who shoots guns all the time, I know it's easy to just grab it, put it together, and go. Especially with everything that is accessible to people. Internet is one hell of a crazy ass thing, okay? But you have access to know how to do things. Shit, I took an engine out of my car. I'm not a fucking mechanic.
The problem with that question, though, is that it turns back to the gun debate, in terms of fixing it. I mean, a lot of people like to praise Australia for what they did back in 1996 after the port incident. So, 35 people died there. They passed legislation, banned the guns. Now they have a statistic. They have a number.
Fuck all that.
But then I could just turn around and say...
Right now. Where we're at right now, currently, what could we do? And I'm saying, you're talking about banning guns, and that shit obviously hasn't happened.
And in Mexico, it has the strictest gun laws ever, and I don't need to even go into there if you want to talk about deaths, to guns.
Yeah, because all that does is to your point, is once you start just taking away if you take away guns just completely, number one, the ones that are the criminals, the ones that don't obey the laws in the first place, they just going to obtain the guns or ascertain the guns in some other way.
Okay.
Period. Okay. So they're going to use them.
So you can't get rid of guns.
Or either that's going to happen, or they're just going to find another weapon to do what they need to do.
Look at Switzerland. Look at Switzerland.
So like if you in London, the same way, gun. But in
Switzerland, they're allowed the same. Like their gun laws are lax. They have in the last 21 years, they've only had one mass shooting, and they educate. Their biggest thing is they educate all kids in middle school years and up, all the way through high school, and they have events on how they educate kids on how to shoot, on how to properly have a gun, keep a gun stored away. Different things like that, how to manipulate the gun. They do things like that.
That's informative. Yeah. And I say it that way because it almost sounded like damned if you do and damned if you don't. You can't take my gun away, because if you take my gun away, now everyone who really wants to have a gun is going to get the gun, right? So I'm sitting here protected. But you got to educate people on what the current policies are and understanding what your rights are. Shit. Protection and safety. Have some type of training class. I don't care from what age. But shit, there has to be some type of responsibility from up top on down.
And I agree with making it harder for them to get a gun, because at that point, let's say you are red, white, and blue in goddamn America, right? That's fine. That's fine. You can't wait a year to just and I know they hate saying compromise. You got to in today's age. Things have changed. You have to compromise a little bit. And it's not going to take away. You're still going to have Billy down the road that has a machine gun and a rocket launcher. You're good, bro. If this fight happens, we good. We got people with some shit. Okay, we're good. If this fight ever happens that we're talking about. But it's ultimately, bro, look, have them have references, have them have proper checks, mental health, everything, because mental health is an issue. Because when we look at all these shootings, I'm sorry, I ain't seen no females in there. It's all males, man. It's almost like you can pick these people out, and you know what I mean? Like, you literally can see a guy and be like, yeah, he's a mass shooter.
But I think that's to the bigger issue, and as you're asking the question, it's a very hard question. It does not have a simple answer to it.
It doesn't.
When it comes down to the responsibility side of it, and who's responsible, what's responsible, what can be done, what solutions can we put out there. It's such a complex issue. The biggest thing right now, the buzzword, what's popular right now is mental health. Everyone's saying, "Oh, we got to focus on the mental health and focus on this and focus on that. We need to start, paying attention to these kids or these people that are, exhibiting these habits of behavior that are similar to ones who commit these type of heinous acts." I'll be honest, man.
Everybody's different.
That part, to me, that's easy to say. To me, I hate when people say stuff just because it sounds good. I want to hear what's effective. That's an easy thing to say. Is it correct? Yes, it's correct. Right. But it's such an easy thing to say, because I see so many people out there that will say the exact opposite and be like, man, I mind your own business. I mind my own business. Right. I ain't doing shit. I don't know. I don't care what's going on at that house. I'm worried about mine. Right. I see so many people doing that. So when we start talking about, we need to focus on this and that, man, ain't nobody doing that. Ain't nobody doing that. So at the end of the day, what will it come? What does it take? And we do have to dissect and go at the specifics of what event is contributed to what. So when we're talking about mass shootings, even though that only makes up 1%, as I stated, that is a small number in comparison to gun deaths in general.
You can still save some, right?
But you're still trying to save some, and you still gotta. At the end of the day, I've said this so many times, man. I talked about it on film, man. Like the Joker said it. Heath Ledger's character in The Dark Knight. He said, when everything's going to plan, nobody panics.
Right.
He said, but when you say that, you know, a mayor's going to get shot,
right,
or a school bus full of kids is going to blow up, everybody loses their mind.
Everybody loses their mind.
But that is so real to how society thinks. So with that ideology, that is true, because we understand that is something that is not supposed to happen. So we need to be able to come up with ways that's going to move the needle so it lessens that or curves that to the point of satisfaction. Are you going to be able to eliminate it completely? Absolutely not, because that's where the side you're dealing with the mental health. You're always going to have people that are just not in the right state of mind. They're basically, a lot of people are not dealt the right hand in life. You got to think about this. Like, just think about yourself and see where you place in life. Compare yourself to the most richest person in the world. Somebody has unlimited resources, you know, and compare yourself to them and think where you land, right? Just think about that for a second. Now think how many rungs lower below you could be. That's where a lot of these people be living. So when you start talking about mental health, that's where they are. They are living in hell for them. And I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm saying that's just the reality of it. So you're not going to be able to solve that 100%. Even if you focused on them, even if someone gave that person attention, okay, that's one person that didn't want to mind their own business. But you're still going to have others that's still doing the same thing. So it's such a complex question. But I do think we need to take steps in the right direction on both sides. Both of these gangs need to really start getting to more of a center, because we can make adjustments. There can be adjustments made that are for the benefit overall. And this whole idea where people are scared of compromise, or scared of, you know, oh, we're giving away our liberties and our freedoms and all this other good body nonsense. It's bullshit. That's Facebook talking. That's that Facebook talk. That fake patriotism. That shit makes me sick.
Well, let me go ahead and bring it full circle, and I thank you guys for hanging with us right now. I know we're a little bit past our normal time, but let's bring this back full circle. Let's incorporate a night scene in an active shooter situation. I know I've been a part of, not inside, but outside, and I know the protocols from when a shooter is outside, mainly because obviously we do our job and due diligence on the getting our patrons inside, making sure we scan them, right? But let's full circle it. Let's say they do get in the nightclub with the blicky.
I mean, I have a story. This was a venue that we had first worked at, but I made a mistake. I shouldn't have, and this is just for any security that's out there. Do not say what's going on. And there's an active shooter. Don't walk. I made the mistake of walking back in and being like, "Hey, there's something shooting. Y'all need to get back." I just the first 6 people that were right there started panicking. I went to run and I jumped in front of them. I darted from I actually realized what was going on. They were going to cause a panic, and the whole place would have just went crazy and ran off, and somebody could have got hurt. So don't do that. Just say, look, I need everybody inside. Just everybody inside. You know, everybody inside. I'm about to close this door. You know what I mean? This is before they get in. There's somebody's outside, because in the situations, I don't know if you were there, because you were working there too. I just don't know if you were there during that situation, but there's been a couple times where we've had shooters, and they're typically outside before they come here, or something happened and they went and got their chopper out the trunk.
Right.
But I think what you're referring to, you saying they're already in there,
right? Or you know what? Break it down real quick, because those are the normal situations that we are in, and I've been a part of that as well. What do you do with the shooters outside the club? You hear shots fired. What's your first instinct?
You got to get everybody inside.
Everybody inside.
Right.
But
no one in, no one out. Right.
No one in, no one out.
But if you're talking about someone in the scenario that you're breaching right now, is kind of is very unlikely.
Right.
Number one.
Very
Let's
true.
Just be honest about
That's
it.
why I said
these are not the places that these things happen on the regular, but they do have the ability to happen. if there's an active shooter, if we're kind of maybe making it parallel to what just occurred, someone's come into the venue and they just start laying people down, and there's an active shooter. At that point, I mean, I think the responsibility, and now we're dealing with grown adults that's in this club. I think everyone in that building has a responsibility to take that shooter out.
Okay.
I think, I mean, and I'm only speaking from a perspective of in the moment.
There's a lot of
it
people
happening.
around.
You probably got about 200 to 300 people in the venue, maybe
Right,
depending on the
right.
size of the venue. I mean, and we're making a hypothetical situation right
Very,
now, but
very hypothetical.
I think at that point, and we're talking about one active shooter, I think everyone has a responsibility, man. It's 300 outweighs one person. I mean, yes, you're gonna have a situation. People gonna get hit. They already hitting. So what are you gonna do? You gonna stand there and get hit, or you gonna try to make an attempt to tackle a dude and get hit?
Right,
You have to.
right.
That would be the only thing you could do.
Nigga, you making an Area 51 argument? Like, Cat, get us all. We just
Well,
don't.
no, it's the truth.
I mean,
It's
I'm
the
just
truth.
being honest, but
I'm not trying to.
I'm a
go down.
Naruto run at this nigga.
I'm only answering this in the way that of the question that's being stated.
You first.
And I'm saying for myself, if I was a security guard or if I was a patron in one of these venues at a bar or a nightclub that had a capacity of 150 to 300 people, and there's an active shooter, like that's what we're gonna have to do, especially if he's barricaded himself in there.
Right.
I'm thinking it from that. I'm making the same comparison of what just occurred,
I
so
think-
I can't
okay.
exit. So it's
okay.
me or you. At the end of the day,
And I do think it does depend on the scenario,
right?
Because it does
like
depend on
that's
where
such
I'm at.
that question is is such a hard thing.
Like
I
if
feel
I'm
like-
not close enough to
I
him,
don't
I would be
know.
trying to
Come
protect
on.
people, telling people to get out of the way.
Absolutely.
And I'd be trying to barricade myself to making sure I could see him if I can get close to him at all. Like it would be a different scenario for everybody.
It's such
depending
a
on the
hard thing because you don't know the
situation.
motives of what the
You think
shooter's
he really would? I don't think nobody
intentions are.
would, bro. Come on.
Everybody's gonna run the second you hear
niggas
the
on dance,
gun.
yeah, he's at the DJ booth. Already shot the DJ. Just shot him, right?
Ringing,
Bro,
you're ringing,
None
you're
of us gonna be
vibrating.
like, but you know we're all gonna be like, hey man.
No, but it's different.
You know,
No, but it's
Right.
different though. It's
It's
different
moments.
because I think in a nightclub is so. And I get what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
I know exactly
We
what you're
run in
saying.
different directions.
I know everybody's thinking of running. Everybody's thinking panic. Absolutely. But the thing is, when you're dealing with those type of situations, you're usually surrounded. So for him to do something like that, and I'm saying him because it's usually a male, almost all the time.
all the time, yeah.
There's going to be people behind him. So you as an active, that's not an ideal situation for an active shooter.
Right.
Just because,
But I think he's just shooting somebody. Like
right?
somebody
And
like,
See,
that's a different
different.
point.
That's different.
Yeah, because
So-
you just boom, boom, you put it away, and then you walk out
Yeah.
with everybody else. That's a whole
so
different story.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're trying to make the same situation as what just occurred or other mass shootings that
Right.
happen at public
Yeah.
places like that,
That's a good point.
that's the intention of the shooter is completely different.
meaning you
The
can tell he's going
scenario.
after people. He's just shooting everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing because when it like that's what just occurred.
Right.
The
Right.
bullets had no names.
Right.
They pretty much he was going in there with the intention
Boom,
to get
boom,
anybody he
boom,
saw
boom.
in front of
Didn't
him.
matter.
The same like that's just kind of how a lot of these mass shootings go. But usually
So you're talking
shootings,
about like
Super
shootings that
Bowl.
happen in a club,
Yeah.
bro, they going after somebody.
right.
Like there's somebody in there that did something to them, or they feel like did something to them, or they had intentions of going after that person. They be the ops.
So you're talking
whatever
about
the case may be.
the gay club Pulse, where that shooter in Florida or whatever. Do you guys remember that one?
Was that inside or outside?
It was inside. I thought it was inside. Could have sworn it was inside the club.
Because I remember when it was in. Was that the one in Orlando?
Yeah.
that was Orlando. Was that inside?
I thought Florida.
I know it was Orlando. I know Orlando had it's because
Club Pulse. I remember the name was Pulse.
I went to Orlando and I actually went by that same place because they had a lot of candles and things like
Oh,
that.
still,
for that.
damn.
Yeah,
Holy
but
shit.
this was years ago
Okay.
when I went. I was out there in Orlando work, and they were saying that was the nightclub where that happened. But I'm gonna have to. People can fact check us on that. Did that happen inside? Was that outside? I thought that was like a drive, like outside, because I remember security guards getting hit. Like it was outside. That's what I thought. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I'm not sure on that.
But it's a lot of times in those type of shootings, and I think that was more hate related. That was a person they was shooting the club because it was a gay club and they was trying to kill gay people. I mean, I think that was the
Well, that's
the
why
agenda.
I thought about the scenario, because I was like, well, that's a situation where he's trying to get everybody. So that's the reason I brought it up. But
I think that's such a, like I said, that's so unique to a club or bar setting. It's hard to kind of break down what I would do. But
I
if
feel you. I
we're
feel you.
making it
Similar.
synonymous of how active shooters operate,
Mhm.
then yeah, I think it's a responsibility for everyone. I don't think it's ideal for the active shooter, just because you're surrounded by people,
Right.
You're outnumbered. So, but most shootings that happen in the club, like I said, it's intentional. Like they going in there to get somebody, and at that point, you just hoping it ain't you. And then you just ducking or trying to run or get, protect the people who are around you and
Right.
trying to coordinate and try to get out of harm's way. That's usually what it is, because usually the person that's in there ain't shooting everybody.
Right.
They go in there and shoot that one or two
specific
people
person.
or whatever that is, and then they dip.
Right.
They trying to make a quick exit.
Right.
The active shooter ain't trying to make no exit. They trying to get as many people as they can, and they usually end up killing themselves. Or if you white, you get taken alive. That's for another show.
Ultimately, dangers happen all the time, but never in club situations. Why? Mainly because I know we're wanding, in those situations. I know we've mentioned it before. Would you say, come over here and get this wand? That goes a long way, dog. It goes a long way. Knowing that I'm in a venue where I at least got an equal chance of fighting someone, knowing that I'm not going to get, hit over some stores, now if you have an equal chance of fighting somebody in a club, you got an equal chance of getting shot outside the club, depending on what happens. But you got to know, once you
Usually-
get outside the club, get your ass the fuck out of here and go
Usually
home,
the
right?
shootings, unfortunately,
Right.
in most cases, it's
It's
outside.
outside.
Because a lot of the nightclubs, they are wanding, or they have some type of pat down system
Right.
or protocol. So a lot of the time they keeping the thing in the car,
Yeah.
and then when they see you outside, that's usually what happens. So for us, it's a little bit different. I think the protocol and the procedure is a little bit different for us. When it usually happens, when the shooting does happen in our line of work, it's basically to get everyone inside and out of harm's way.
Right.
Get in the building, take cover from that perspective.
Yep.
But when you, like I said, the active shooter in a club thing, that's a
tough one.
very unique,
Very tough one.
situation that would be happening. And I think you would be literally at the mercy of
Everybody.
of the active shooter's intentions.
Yeah.
And it's such an intangible thing. So.
Well, I definitely want to thank you guys for tuning in. This was one difficult episode. We're talking about a lot of politics, a lot of gun laws, a lot of amendments, and obviously a lot of serious shootings that have been occurring this year in general. I think more people have died this year than we have actually had days in this year from a shooting, which it is starting to speak volumes. So,
It's, anytime it's senseless death, man, it's always gonna, bring up a conversation. As stated earlier, we do want to keep it. It brings out an emotion.
yeah, it does.
As a
It
parent,
does.
and this situation happened in any type of event where people that they should not have happened, and it's such an unfortunate and tragic event. All you can do is really just like you can pray and think that it wasn't your child. But I feel like, man, like I couldn't even imagine like what those families are going through.
Right.
And like I said, it's condolences to those families, everyone involved, especially with little kids, man. Like it's such a I'm just speechless on that. I don't have much else to say about it. It's nothing else you can say.
Well, from About the Night, our prayers and condolences go out to the families of the victims that were involved in that Texas mass shooting. I know that you guys got heavy shoulders, and you're gonna have to stay and remain strong for the remaining parts of your family. Continue to love, hold, hug, kiss, and tell your family members that you love them, because we never know when we leave and walk out that morning, let alone wake up the next day, that it could be our last. So make sure you love everyone. make sure you give them a hug, show some love. All right. But thank you guys so very much for tuning in to About the Night here in Sacramento. You got my main man on the ones and twos right over there, my boy Tony WSJR_official. You got my main guy right over here in the chair right next to me, my boy Rob Suede _like_coats COATES. Get it right, baby. You're rocking with Winton King _of_Sacramento. Unfortunately, our main guy Warren ready with a 3, not an E, was unable to be with us today. So our thoughts and prayers are with you too, sir. Thank you guys once again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And catch us every Monday night, 9:30 p.m. We in your living room. Should I be saying Happy Memorial Day? Let's get it. Let's go.